discussing. Yeah, so because I want to make sure that what I say you remember it and you completely understand it. Okay. Right. So yeah, you can take your notebooks as well if you want to. It's okay. She's recording a video, so that's fine. Right. So first of all, you need to adjust the speed of these videos and repost it on the blog. Okay. You should do this by tomorrow. All right. Now, it's interesting. First of all, well done for all the hard work, because all of you guys, because it was only like 3 hours, and you're not architects. Well, you're related to landscape architecture, but everybody else, you're not architects, and it's very impressive. Okay, but now I'm gonna point out things that will help your understanding throughout this whole DMSP project. Okay. It's interesting that you mentioned. It's interesting that you actually talked about narrow spaces. You talked about tunnels. You talked about the scale changing. You talked about the vertical effect of going down from really like high heights. These are all really interesting aspects. And these are, if you don't understand something that I'm saying, don't feel shy. Stop me and tell me I don't understand, because it's important that every time that we meet, you understand everything. So please don't worry. Just stop me and say, Dora, I don't understand what you're saying. Okay? All right. So these aspects are really interesting. Also, if someone is going through different spaces, for instance, if you make the sound of the water here, let's say, it's completely different how we hear water underground in an enclosed space, like a cave, and it's completely different how we hear water in general. So it's interesting from an acoustic point of view as well. Now, what is not what you are expected to do for the rest of the semester is the fact that you thought about this as a game. It's not bad, but it can be tricky, because thinking about it as a game, you're thinking of it as if there is a goal in it, and you're thinking about tragedy and death and all that. These are things that you should think if you were doing the game design course, but you should try for the DMSP to not think about it as a game. Yes, we looked at games like the portal and all that to have an idea of how spaces work, how thresholds work, how spaces can change and be intense, but we only need these ideas, not actually to recreate a game. Okay? That's one thing. So you shouldn't think about it as a game. It shouldn't have a concept of tragedy that someone dies, because it's not a game. It should just be an exploration of space. Okay? Because this, our final product, yes, it will definitely have close relations to gaming, because it's about Unity and 3D and virtual reality and all that, but it's going to be an artistic piece. And it's going to be an artistic real-time interactive piece, where yes, there are going to be environments, and we're going to try to express some sort of intensity, okay? And then we're going to try in real time to be changing this environment in order to either make it more intense or make it less intense. But there's not going to be a goal. There's not going to be like you need to go through these doors and then you will die or then you will win. That's one thing. The second thing is that you've put too much intensity in this, meaning that there is it's only the starting point that the user is a little bit like standard mode, and then all of a sudden he either goes down or he either goes up, or it would be interesting if you did something gradual, so little by little, to change the spaces, or if you you had a rhythm of being in a calm space for a little while and then having some options and suddenly changing to another space and then being calm and changing or something like that. But your ideas of scale, very good. Scale is really important. The idea of the vertigo going down, really good, and the height and all that. The idea, the narrowness of the space, that the space becomes narrow and small. Yes, this is all really, really interesting. Now, when you do the stop motion, actually it becomes more interesting. Even though this is really, really fast now. It's interesting because we see this material here, which is, I mean, look at that. It could be a big building with suddenly soft walls. That the walls are hard and suddenly the walls of the building become soft, and you're in a soft space and you feel weird because that's not very common. So that's very interesting. Also here you can see transparency. Okay, transparency is also interesting. So suddenly, let's say if this floor became transparent and we could see below, or we were at a higher level, we would probably be scared. So transparency, I mean, or we can be walking through a transparent space and we feel very calm, and then if the space suddenly becomes less transparent, we might feel a little bit